Page spread balancing is something that we've been working towards for quite a long time now, and we are releasing our first version in beta. To enable spread balancing, open the Print Settings dropdown and select Spread Alignment. Once enabled, you'll see three settings appear underneath it. We've tested spread balancing on very large books, and it does not add a lot of latency, but if you are experiencing some slowdowns, you can change run balancing to export only, and this will ensure that you only take on that latency when you're generating the final product. You may notice that some of your pages are still imbalanced even with this option turned on. Almost every single time that happens, it's because of a widow and orphan that cannot be violated. Because of that, we've given you the Allow Widow and Orphan Violation option. You can turn this option on and then see if the violations are acceptable for you and your book. The line removal option allows you to dictate how many lines you're willing to remove to balance a page. We base it around the orphan count that you have set in your project. Most of the imbalances that you're going to see in your projects come from the widows and orphans, so it made sense to us to base it around orphans. We've added a new feature to allow you to view your book in a two-page spread. Because it requires you to generate a whole book to use this feature, we attached it to the Print Whole Book Slower mode. Once you've generated a full book, you'll now see a small icon next to your page count number of an open book. You click that, you will now open up the new preview window. We set it up the way that we did so that you can still use the left-hand side navigation, as well as a lot of the customization settings. One of the best use cases for this is toggling on and off the page spread balancing so you can see the algorithm at work. In order to use store links, all you have to do is select the text that you want to create links for, and there is a new drop-down menu that shows you the three types of links that you can create, store links being one of them. Store links lets you create individual links for Amazon, Apple, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play. We also have an option for generic, which will be used for print PDFs and ebook PDFs. When you go to generate your final ebook, you will now see an output section that gives you a toggle option for multiple stores. Once toggled, you'll see an output folder section. This is going to be the folder where all of your ebooks are created to. If you have a store link created for any store, you will see a green check mark next to it. Now when you click generate ebook, it'll create as many ebooks as it needs to for each store based on which ones you select. We've now split the English language into two varieties, US and GB. We've been going back and forth for a while now with hyphenation points for the English language. Some people like them, some people don't. So this is what led us to splitting this English language up. They now operate on two separate dictionaries. The default is going to be English US. If you would like to change it to GB to see how it affects your book, simply go to the book metadata, select book details, and there you can select the language. If you have the print previewer open, you will see the hyphenation dictionary take effect in real time. And just in case you missed it in a previous update, we do have a hyphenation dictionary. You can find it in the edit menu at the top of the application. Here you can select any language and add your own custom breakpoints for any word for that language. This option is application wide, so you can set it up once and it'll affect all of your projects. Inside of your section's print settings, there is a new tab called Typography. Once you've enabled this, you can now override the font weight, font size, and line spacing of that entire section. This override also automatically applies to your elements that do not have explicit fonts set for them, so things like list items, tables, image captions, etc. will also get this font for that particular section. Every month or so, we get another request for a new trim size that we do not offer. Instead of having to wait for releases to get new trim sizes, we've given you a custom size option. Once this is enabled, you can create any trim size between 3 inches and 12 inches. Just remember to click the apply button when you want it to take effect. We renamed the chapter options under the headers and footers section in print settings to section type options. The reason we did this is we now give you a set of options for front matter pages. By default, we hide all headers and footers on certain front matter pages. And if you would like to turn that feature off, there is now a new option for that. You will also now find more settings under the headers and footers for any individual section's print settings. Starting at the top, you can now choose different presets for your first page and the remaining pages of a section. If you're unfamiliar with how to set up presets for headers and footers, simply go to the page layouts under print settings, click the three dots next to the preset area, and you can create a new preset there. Once you've created the preset and hit apply, you will now see them in a drop-down under page layout preset. The other features that we've given you is we now given you control of the page numbers and the borders for both first page or all pages.